Hi friends, this is second video of Rupee volume chapter. My manifesto, Right to Recall Party manifesto, you can download it from rahulmehta.com/301.htm. And chapter 23 is about how Reserve Bank can be improved, how inflation can be decreased. The first video is E2301. I'll repeat, E2301. That video tells you the problem. What is the problem? Problem is that currently RBI governor and finance minister have all the powers to manufacture as much rupee as they want. How much rupee has been manufactured in past 60 years after freedom? About 47,000 rupees per citizen. 47,000 rupees per citizen has been manufactured, of which Reserve Bank has manufactured about 9,500. And other banks, SBI, Dena Bank, ICICI, etc. has manufactured 47 minus 9,000, so roughly say 38,000 rupees per citizen. Why? What is the main reason why the rupee has to be manufactured? One is, of course, GDP population growth rate, but population has grown by 3 times, whereas money has grown by 730 times in past 60 years. Second reason is increase in GDP. If the GDP has increased, then of course there are more goods, and so you require more rupee to exchange those goods and maintain the commerce. But again, GDP has increased by about 6 times in past 60 years, whereas rupee volume has increased by 730 times. So the main reason why more rupee has to be manufactured is because the banks are giving loans to all these industrial houses, and many of them, not all of them are bad. We have to go case by case in this case. The banks, more than half the industrial houses do not repay the loan, and therefore more money has to be manufactured to repay the depositors and the depositors. Now there are other ways also by which government is losing money. How? For example, Government of India can obtain money at the rate of 4%. How? Government of India can run savings bank account which will provide only 2 services, checking and passbook, that's all. And using that it can offer 3.5%, 4% interest. And so the cost of that money will be about 5%. About 1% they will lose in implementing all this checking and checking etc. facility. But instead what government does is that it borrows money from bank at the rate of 10%, 11%, 9%, 7%, 8%. And banks are offering only 3.5%, the 4% at most on savings account, and that is a loss. Plus another problem is current account. Lot of government departments, they keep their money in current account, get 0% interest, whereas the banks are getting as much as 7-8% interest or more. On loans they get as much as 12% to 18% interest, 16% interest, and that is a loss to government. So the law that we have to look for is that all government accounts will get interest of 7% and so forth. So why is this done? That why is government keeping so much money in current account, and why government is not borrowing money at 4% that it can get from public? Main reason is that the private banks, PSU bank as well as private banks, they are losing money to all this NPA creator. NPA creator are big industrialists, on paper industrialists. They submit the project and they will get the loan of 100 crore, 200 crore, 1000 crore, whatever. The bribes are given to all from Prime Minister to Finance Minister, Finance Secretary, and also the head office of the chairman of the bank and other people at head offices. And he does not repay that money. So how can bank compensate for that losses? So one principle is that they pass the loss to government. How? That government borrows money at higher interest than it can get from elsewhere, and lot of government departments will put money in current account. So these are the problems. What is the solution? The solution I propose is right to recall RBI governor and what I call a citizens tender system, citizens rupee system. Right to recall governor I have explained in section 23.8. The procedure draft I have given here. It's very simple. It's 100% constitutional. You can show it to any lawyer. He will not be able to find any clause which violates any article in Constitution. Ask him to give the article number, that these are the 10 clauses. Tell me which clause violates which article of the Constitution. So the procedure is that RBI governor is appointed today by finance minister or PM. Then any person can go to, any person who wants to become RBI governor can register his name for a deposit of, let's say, 10,000, 20,000. Any citizen can go to Patwari's office, pay 3 rupee fee and approve at most 5% for the position of RBI governor, and any person can cancel the approval. So the vote buying is not possible. For example, if I tell you that approve me and I'll give you 100 rupee, so you will approve me, your name will come on the Prime Minister's website that you have approved me, I'll give you 100 rupees. Next day you can cancel the approval. So can I threaten you? Answer is maybe I can threaten 10 people, 50 people, lakh people. Can I threaten 37 crore people? It's impossible. Even military can't do that. So when will RBI governor change? When 37 crore citizens have approved one person for the position of RBI governor. So this makes sure that the RBI governor, corruption in RBI's governor's position will reduce. Today RBI is the third most corrupt entity in India. The most corrupt entity, as we all know, is Supreme Court of India. Second is Prime Minister's office, and third is Reserve Bank of Governor's office. So this right to recall governor will ensure that the governor will stay under the control of citizens. Now what is citizens rupee system? Today, how is rupee manufactured? RBI governor says manufacture rupee, bingo manu rupee is manufactured. Of course, he will need some tacit permission from finance minister and prime minister, because finance minister and prime minister have power to expel RBI governor any day. So without their approval, he cannot do much. So, but he does not require permission of citizens as of today. Second, money is manufactured by chairman of SBI, Dena Bank, etc., not in the currency form, it is in the passbook form and fixed deposit certificate form. And he also does not require permission from anyone except RBI governor and finance minister. They don't require permission on paper, but given the fact that finance minister and RBI governor can take legal action against him, they will always go by what finance minister and RBI governor are asking them to do. So what citizens legal tender says is that RBI can manufacture rupees, but with permission of citizens. How will it get permission of the citizen? That RBI will put a manufacturing plan that this is what I'll do, and of the newly manufactured money, let us say that he says that I'll manufacture 1 lakh crore rupees and I'll give it to finance minister. Then the ball will be in the court of finance. Finance minister will have to give plan that new 1 lakh crore rupee manufactured will be distributed in such and such way. And if 51% citizens reject that plan, then it will be cancelled. So they do not need approval. They will have to wait for 2 months. And after 2 months, within that 2 months, if the citizens reject the plan, then it will be cancelled, otherwise it will go through. Now, how much is the cost of collecting this approval? 3 rupee per citizen. And that will, if all 75 crore citizen voters of India register approval, it will cost 225 crore. How much rupee was manufactured by RBI in past 1 year? 1 lakh crore. So RBI had manufactured about 1 lakh crore rupees. Of this, let us say it manufactures in 4 installment of 25,000 crore rupees. Each time it seeks an approval, approval is costing 225 crore rupees, so that is hardly 1%. It's not even 1%. So with 1% of extra cost, we can put control over rupee manufacturing and control the prices. Further, if the people approve with RBI, then nobody will go to Patwari's office, or very few people will go to Patwari's office, in which case the cost will be zero. But if citizens do not want RBI to print more money, then they can go to Patwari's office and file an approval against, and the money will not be printed. And once this procedure comes on ATM and SMS, the cost will further decrease from 225 crore to mere 10 crore rupees. Now comes the question of, can SBI extract and manufacture money? Answer is no. The proposal that I have given is to consolidate all banks, all PSU banks, not private banks. Private banks can continue as they are. All PSU banks under SBI. So there will be only one government bank. That government bank will only confine to fund storage and transfer. It will give loans in very selected area. I'll mention those areas. But other than that, it will give loan only which is approved by the depositor, and I'll mention the procedure as well. As far as private banks goes, the government will, RBI will not supervise any private banks. The RBI will only supervise the depositors consortium. Anybody who is putting money in that bank will become member of depositors consortium. The depositors will appoint their own auditor. And if the bank blows away the money, then of course government will catch them and imprison the banker. But government will not repay them a dime. So the passbook of that private bank will have clearly written that enter at your own risk. All private bank, RBI will put a notice board. That is the only power RBI will have, that at the bank's gate, they'll put a notice that enter at your own risk. And on the passbook, they will have to print a message of RBI governor that whatever money that you are putting, RBI and Government of India does not insure even 1 rupee of that. If this money goes down the drain, you will lose this money. So you want to give money to a private bank, give it at your own risk. Now, how will government money in SBI etc. will do? First, it will be used for government operations, whatever they are done by finance minister. How much will be the interest? No FD, fixed deposit, the interest will be 4% on the amount of 5 lakh, and above that it will be 3%. And if for senior citizen, for 15 lakh of rupees, interest will be 8%, and after that it will be 4%. Plus whatever money, the minimum balance of past 1 year, there will be additional 1% interest, minimum balance of past 2 years, another 1% interest, minimum balance of past 3 years, another 1% interest, and so forth, up to maximum of 5 years. So you will not have to go to bank's office and get an FD. You keep the money in savings. If the money stays in the savings bank for 5 years, automatically you will get 5% extra interest on that. So this basically ensures that you will be wasting less time. Because today lot of expenses, because the clerks have to cancel an FD, they have to renew an FD, and it is also ends up wasting the time of the citizens, that they have to go to bank so many times. This simplifies citizens' interaction with the bank. Now when it comes to giving loan, the government will give loan only for specific tasks such as housing, students loan, depending on the eligibility of the students, he will get loan of 5 lakh to 10 lakh or whatever. And what about loans to industry? Well, the rule is that I have proposed is that if you want loan of, let us say, 1000 crore, then one person's guarantee will be fixed. Let us say a citizen's guarantee is fixed to 2 lakh rupees. Then for 1 crore of loan, you have to have 50 guarantor. For 500 crore of loan, you will require 50 into 500, that is 25,000 guarantor. So whosoever wants loan, he will have to get guarantor on his own. Without individual guarantor, the person whose head can be picked, without a personal guarantor, the loans will not be given except for 2 cases, housing and student. And of course, if somebody has fixed deposit somebody has let us say bank account of 1 crore, then he can become guarantor of 1 crore. But then in 1 crore will be frozen. He will continue to get interest on it. But his 1 crore is frozen till the loan is repaid. So this will reduce the reckless funding that we have. Is this better than gold standard? Answer is yes. Why? Because this money is approved by citizens, whereas gold, it is currency only if it is approved by citizen. So gold has two requirements. You have to have gold and you require citizens' permission that gold should be used as a currency. Whereas this one has one requirement less, that you don't require gold, you only require citizens' approval that this money will be manufactured only when citizens say. Second, this money cannot be stolen. Gold can be stolen. This money can be stolen in the sense the cash can be stolen. But as the digital currency increases, the circulation of cash will decrease, and in which case this digital money becomes relatively difficult to steal. In fact, if every transaction is crossed and immediately sent over SMS, and if it is written in what is called as write once media, if you develop a technology called as in a hard disk which is write once, then whatever the data that is written cannot be erased. So this pretty much does not make it virus proof, but the virus can only damage new entries, it cannot damage the old entries. So if the virus has done the damage, at least the old record is all protected and it can be recovered and restored. So that way this money cannot be stolen, and if it is stolen, then the thief can be immediately found that who did it, and it can be recovered, whereas gold can be stolen. Now the people who believe in gold standard also say that put gold in one repository, but somebody can steal from that repository either. Let us say that I have put my gold in RBI vault, then what is going to stop PM from taking that real gold out and putting tungsten in its place? Weight of tungsten and color of tungsten with some glape etc. is very close to gold. So one can replace the gold bar with tungsten bar and get away. It is not difficult. Of course there are machines which will do gold scanning, but with small number of people, the people who are guarding the gold vault, with small number, by bribing a small number of people, it is possible to steal away the gold. Whereas digital rupee or rupee in the cash book cannot be stolen. Second problem is that with gold is that a foreign country can steal the gold from gold repository. That's why I support the idea of each citizen having gold. One of the proposal I have is that each citizen will be encouraged by having appropriate laws to have small amount of gold, instead of having all the gold in one central repository, because if there is gold in one central repository, then enemy can anyway grab all of it. But if the gold coins are with citizens distributed all over population, then even in the war, if the banks are destroyed, citizens have some medium to carry on the commerce and thus sustain operations at a very small level. So gold should be encouraged, but gold is not a currency. It is not a good idea to have gold as a currency, because it cannot be created when needed and it can be stolen. And if I keep gold with myself and not at central repository, then how do I pay somebody who is in Delhi or Mumbai or wherever? Which is what can be done with a bank. So today the problem is not that the currency is not gold. Many people say that inflation is because we have fiat currency. Fiat means that today finance minister and RBI can manufacture as much money as they want, rupee as they want. That is not the problem. The problem is that we do not have control over this finance minister, we do not have control over this RBI governor. See, once upon a time, the king had power to give any punishment he likes. And because of that, there was a lot of repression. So now, problem was not with the punishment. Problem was not that there was somebody who can execute, and therefore there was problem. Somebody you can imprison, and therefore the problem was that all the power to punish accused was centered in few hands. And when elections came, when jury system came, the power went into the hands of people, and since then the society is liberal. There are punishments, but there are very less spurious punishments. There is high level of liberty. Same way, today inflation is not because we have fiat currency. Inflation is not because money can be manufactured as much as we want. Inflation is because today RBI governor and finance minister and the elite men on whom they depend on media for survival, they depend on industrialists from whom they want bribes. And this small group of people, 100, 200, maybe 1,000, they can manufacture as much money as they want. Moment right to recall RBI governor comes and the citizen linger tender comes, that rupee can be manufactured only when citizens approve. The power to manufacture rupee now comes in the hands of citizens, and therefore the rupee system will become good. So I request you to read chapter 23. It is very technical in nature. The videos will be helpful in understanding the concept, but to understand how the rupee is manipulated at ground level, you will have to go through the numbers and also look at the links that I have given in the chapter. Thank you.